Pal Souls farming, going through how to get the giant Pal Souls through expeditions, breeding and butchering, as well as giant or the predator Pal farming. So option A is the expeditions. It requires quite a bit of setup. You will need to condense a lot of pals since the auto assign only lets you take 100 at a time and you don't want to spend time micromanaging it. You want to have at least 400 strong pals so you can just fill up these, and you want at least 20 of them for each team to be dark. It's quite a lot of setup, but it's also a good way to get giant pal souls. The annoying bit is going this lap every 6 minutes. It will also depend on like how close your bases are together. If you're fast traveling, it's a lot slower, so that takes some time. The option B is to breed and butcher. It's low setup. It's a little bit slow, like in real time. You'll have to wait for the eggs for a long time, but the effort itself, just hatching and then butchering, is very low effort. It's a trade-off between how quickly do you need the souls to how much time do you actually want to spend getting the souls. So you want these philanthropists, either Anubis, Necromus, or Frostalian Noct, to get the eggs as quickly as possible, and then you just mass hatch. You could also store them in chests. I usually store them until I have a couple of hundred in the breeding farm, and then mass hatch and butcher. And then you can build like 2 to 3, even 4 conveyor belts, depending on how fast you are with your clicking, to butcher a little bit quicker. This base is a little bit cramped right now. In my old base, I think I ran 3 of these pretty successfully. When you're butchering 100 at a time, it adds up. So option C is to hunt predator pals. This is the quickest method. If you're just needing pals right now, you want to do the ultra raid or something today, this is the fastest farming method. Every 30 minutes you can do a lap. So in 30 minutes I managed to clear like I think it's the 4 or 5 main islands that you clear. It's Fabric, Sakurajima, then you head to Astral Mountain, Mount Obsidian, and the desert with Palladius and Necromus in it. So you kind of just go back and forth to generate these pals. So here is a map of all of them with the drops. So you drop more on Fabric and Sakurajima. If you're not in a major rush, you can just do Fabric and Sakurajima for the most amount of souls. And then if you really want to farm them quickly, you just add the other islands. In 30 minutes, I had time to clear those 5 big ones, ignoring the 2 center islands with low drops. Because then it was ready for another lap, so there was no reason to clear the early game ones. So how the predator pals work is that you go to one of their spawn points on the map, and if it's not there, you fly away. Like 250 meters seems to work well for me. Maybe you can go shorter, I'm not sure. It's not there, you go back, so there's a 30% chance each time you enter render distance. So you want a fast mount. Like I'm using a full speed jet gun, no eternal engine or anything, because you're not using more than a full sprint most of the time. Otherwise, Eternal Engine is quite nice when flying between them. So it doesn't really matter what kind of pal you have, but you just want the fastest pal possible to reset the spawns. This is also something that adds up a lot over time. So with 30% it should take you like 3 or 4, but it can take like up to 10 of resetting. You get the Predator pals, and you want to send out a Nightmare that is maxed. Each star will add the drops. So instead of getting the normal 4 drops, you get 12 drops. And that adds up when you increase the spawn rate. And then you can also increase the drop rate if you really want to do very little farming. So increase the spawn rate if you just want to go quickly. If you're in a multiplayer server, that's too bad. You're probably playing with 1 spawn. And then you'll have to do a little bit more of this farming. So some of them also spawn at night only, like I showed there. The ones that are circled in black on the map are the night spawns. And then you can see the daytime here in the video is just dawn. And this is right after I killed them the last time, which was in the middle of the day or early morning. So you can see that they do respawn right at dawn. You can start resetting again. So you have 32 minutes to do the loop. So you won't have time to clear them all. That's why I advised you only clear the last islands or whatever replies you can take. Then there's the real time versus time spent. It's a little bit different how it adds up. So for effort, like expeditions and butchering, you're spending very little time, but then you have to wait for the cooldown. While if you're farming predator pals, you you're actively farming for 30 minutes, but during those 30 minutes you get a ton of souls. So if you're not in a rush at all, you just breed and butcher. If you want to do some micromanagement, if you're just in the base, you do expeditions. And this ad, you can have more breeding farms as well. These numbers are for the default amount of bases, so 4 expedition sites and the breeding farm. And these are just the times it took from me. So these times will also vary depending on how your bases are set up, how your butchering is set up and everything. So it's not totally accurate numbers for you probably if you're fast traveling between bases. I have 5 bases set up really quick, close together to just spam expeditions. Expeditions also give a lot of other loot, so that's why I think they're a good choice as well. You get the chromite, you get oil, exotic spheres. You can mix in some other expeditions for cavern mushrooms and stuff like that. And then you farm predator pals when you want to max an army today. And then it's the total amount, some numbers here for the total amount of souls needed. So since you can use the crusher to convert souls, you mainly want to farm these giant pal souls or butcher for the large ones and then transform them into each other. And also if you're changing the spawns and drop rates, it will be a little bit different for how many laps. And then a little bonus farming method. I don't think it's as good as the other 3 methods, but it's something you can do if you just want to mindlessly farm. Maybe you get some Mimogs as well. But you send out Nightmare, you probably want to have a Gale Claw instead. I didn't have it here. So you can just have Nightmare and then glide between these spawns. So at night you go and kill Vixen Noct and Bushi Noct here on Sakurajima for medium pal souls. But it's not a great farming technique, but it works in a pinch. And it works also when you're lower level, when you can only clear these. So for now, thanks for watching.